Hi, this is Darrell Webster. We're taking a look at Office 365 groups and some changes in the groups files experience. I saw some bits and pieces on social media, the Office 365 network, and some discussions, starting to grow quickly around some changes to the SharePoint document libraries. And I know that this is causing some concern for those who have customized their libraries. They might have third-party various pieces that have been installed and are now used to be appearing in the ribbon. And with this new change to the SharePoint Document Library, the Document Library ribbon is now changed to the toolbar. But I thought, okay, so let's have a look at this and sort of check it out for ourselves, or for myself. And I went to the new admin center and having a quick look at the messages that are all front and center and easy to find now. And here it is. It's all about the SharePoint Document Library experience. I thought, let's have a quick look at groups and see what's happened there, what might have changed. So as I went into groups, I didn't see much different there, but I then started to get some clues. I saw the Alert Me button. Okay, that sounds familiar. Okay, what's underneath the Views button? And then when I saw Save View and Modify View, I thought, aha, now that's something we've been asking for, because at this stage, well, up until now, we haven't been able to change the view within a groups files area. And okay, so I had a further look underneath the cog button and noticed the library settings. And I thought, right, now we're in business. Because when I clicked into that, I thought, great, now I can see a whole lot of other things that I can do, which feel very familiar to someone who's worked with SharePoint, owns a site, and they're power users. So we're going to have a look at some of these a bit later on. But what we'll firstly look at is three things that I picked up, which I thought were really good to start with as additions to the groups files area. One thing is being able to change permissions on folders and documents. And for a while we've been asking about that because, again, up until now, groups files experiences, anyone who's a member of the group can edit, delete, contribute, change. You're all on the same level. And that can, it's the simplest way to share and collaborate. But in some situations, you might want to change that level of trust. Maybe you're running your classroom out of a group's experience. Or maybe you're wanting to use a group as a true replacement for a team site where you've just got some of those simplified experiences of conversations, calendar, planner, other various things that have been added in there too. But you don't want all the extra stuff that a team site has. So great, we can now work with permissions. And what I'm going to do just to demonstrate this is we're going to change the permissions on the training folder. So as I select the training folder, you can see that the toolbar, no longer called the ribbon, perhaps you could call it the thin ribbon, I don't know, but we can select the share button. And that's not new. We've been able to share out various things. But as I go down to shared with, I can now get to the advanced options. And this is where I can get to actually start dealing with individual permissions on different objects like folders and documents. So you might recognize some of these names if you've worked with permissions in SharePoint before. There's the three groups: members, owners, and visitors. So we'll start with visitors. They're people who normally with team sites can only see the information. They can't add, delete, or contribute to it. We have members who are contributors to the content. They can usually add, delete, etc. And owners are those who can change all the permissions on a site or a document library. They have that full permission to be able to configure things. So most of us fit in the members group, and these are groups that have been sitting in the background and helping to run the groups files experience up until now. We haven't been able to touch them. But what I want to point out here is that at the moment, these permissions have been inherited from the top level site. And behind a group and groups files is a SharePoint site collection and a team site. And in the SharePoint world, permissions are inherited so that when you add something or add someone to a team site, that they inherit those permissions by becoming a member of that group. They get them all. So in this case, what we're going to need to do is break that inheritance. We don't want the training folder to behave the same way as the rest of the library, the group's files. We're going to put unique permissions on that. So we've selected the training folder and we're going to edit the permissions, copy them from the parent and stop inheriting them. We'll get a little warning and we're about to do that, and that's no problem. It's making a copy of what's already there, and now we can edit and change that. So we'll go into Share again, back into Shared With, back into Advanced, and now we have the ability to select different objects and perform actions on them. So what might we want to do with this training folder? Maybe we want to allow group members to view the content but not edit it. And we certainly would want to remove the visitors as well. I don't think we need to be too concerned about the visitors group at this stage. It may be there for future use, perhaps when we're inviting external users in. So, but just for this example, I'm going to remove the visitors group, and we'll do that to start with. Remove the user permissions, and yes, we'll confirm that. And you know, the experience of having to go in and out and doing various things like that isn't the best. So we do have to go through shared and advanced permissions. I haven't discovered an easier way to do this yet, but there might be one. And now we're going to edit the permissions for the members group on just this folder. We don't want them to have edit permissions, or contribute for that matter. We'll edit the user permissions for this group on this folder. Now here's where it gets a little messy. What it's doing is it's displaying a traditional SharePoint type page which allows us to edit the permissions for documents or libraries or folders. But it's in that frame, so I'm hoping that they'll tidy that up. I'm sure they will. Microsoft, that is. They. So scoot on down and we can see that they've got edit permissions. What we're going to do is remove the edit permission and just give them read permissions. Now, because this is a page within a frame, you might be inclined to click close at this stage. But if you scroll down out to the corner, this is where you're actually applying that permission change. Click OK. Again, I do think and I do hope that that Microsoft will be changing this experience so that it's not within this frame. Remember, this is in preview, and we'll see how this operates. So as we close that, we've got those permissions. Let's just go back and see if that's taken its effect. Shared with. So with ops owner, with ops, okay, so members of the ops group. And now we've got members and owners. So I might go one step further, and I don't have to do this from the advanced options dialog. I could do this from sharing the folder, just by going to share, and I could add a new user. And that's what we saw beforehand. I might add Matt Stafford. Yeah, and we'll give Matt. Now here's where it is a bit messy. Maybe I do need to back out and apply permissions. What I'm looking for is a little drop down box at the side there saying edit or view. So let's close that. Nothing like finding things out on the fly as we're talking about things. Best practice for this is can't be best practice because it hasn't been around for only a few days. Let's go back into share. Looks like it's the easiest way to do this for Matt Stafford. Now we can get to the can edit or can view, and we're going to give him edit permissions. We don't need to send out an email invite, and we'll leave it to share any sub items as well. So that's good. We've now given permission to the members of the group to only view the content. Matt can edit it, and any of the ops owners can edit it as well. And owners will include the group admins that are when you set them as admins within the membership. So that's how you set permissions on a particular folder. Now the other thing that we'll have a quick look at while we're looking at folders and documents is the ability to pin them to the top. So I want to make this easier to find in a long list of libraries and folders and documents, and I can pin that to the top. Now that doesn't look great, that exciting. It's a little more exciting when I select something like a contractor schedule. Now let's find a PowerPoint. Pin that to the top. And what we'll get eventually there is that preview of what the document looks like. We can pin up to 3 items. Let's just deselect that one, pin that one. And once they have been moved to the top, and you can pin up to 3, you can also edit the pin and move them right or left. So we can change the order. So yeah, that's useful. Means that I can quickly click into the training area, and now I'm into that folder, and I can get directly to that content. So that might be a good feature if you're wanting the team to be able to see a document that you're referring to in a meeting. In addition to sending them the link to that meeting and that link to the document and the meeting invite. Yeah, so useful feature. But let's get into something that I was quite interested in when I saw it. This changing views. And what I'm going to do is delve in a little bit deeper by looking at some of the library settings to try and illustrate. So one thing that I've been thinking about is metadata. There was no room at all for adding metadata in a groups file scenario. And so at this stage, now that we can get to the library settings, I can turn on enterprise metadata and keywords just for this library. So we'll do that. That's fine. And what this will allow us to do is just to add different tags, what we call folksonomy, the keywords or the metadata that the community or the group of members of that site can just add on the fly to give more context to a document, a folder, and items in a site. So we've turned that on. The next thing that we're going to do is have a look at the different columns. Now there are a few additional columns there from work that I've been doing with BitTitan and Migration Wiz. But what you will normally see is a title, the created, modified, etc. We've seen that before. And now we've got enterprise keywords, manage metadata. And now we can get to the to make that appear in the view. So this is just the columns that are available to us. And as we go down, we can see the different views that are available. We've got the default all documents view, or the shared with us view, which we used to have these views along the top of the library, and we could click through and see if someone shared something from the OneDrive, then it would appear there. Now we've actually got to click the views button now at the top right hand corner and choose this view from there. So it's a little less visible. What is highlights? I don't know. Let's clicked into it and I thought, okay, as I was changing between the different views, I wanted to see what it was actually doing. We don't get any visibility about what the view is doing there. I'm guessing, and it is a guess, that maybe it has something to do with Office Graph, and that it's displaying some of the content that you've been interacting with, or that it thinks that you might find interesting. So we can't do a lot there, but and on a library like this where it's just in my test environment, there's not a lot that's been measured by Office Graph for me to give you anything sensible to demonstrate. But what I want to do is go back down to all documents, and we're going to alter this existing view. So now we can see all the different columns that we can turn on, and we're going to turn on enterprise keywords so that now we can display those keywords that we might add. Some other ones that we might turn on as well. File size, that's quite useful. And if you are using versioning, which we will have a look at, then you might also want to turn on the check-in comment. Okay, check-in comment and version. So this is getting to be quite a large view, and this is another reason why you might want to create additional views. So we're going to do that as part of this demo as well. So that's great. I've turned on some of those various bits and pieces. We'll create another couple of views later on to demonstrate some of these other features. But for now, let's just save that and have a look at the effect. And what does that mean? That means that the document library has got a few more columns. We've got file size, which is useful. We've got version, which is useful when you're wanting to see what version a document is up to. No need to add the 0.3, 0.4, etc. because now within group files, it's all been visible, and we can see that ticking away from the document library view. Let's just test that. Let's go into the available courses, change request form. We'll edit something in there, and you'll see that it'll go from 3.0 to 3.1 to 4.0. Edit in Word. Just change a little something in the title. One thing that I could have done is gone in and also worked with versioning settings. So we'll have a look at that as we work our way through too. This was going to be a short video, but there's a lot that I could show you. So for those of you who want to stick around and watch the lot, great. Bookmark it wherever you're up to next time. Let's just delete that full stop. That's saving. And as we know, when we're working in Office web apps that we can, or Office Online, we can get back to our document library and our site by clicking on the name of the site in the top left. Now it was the change request form, and if we refresh, I have seen a delay in this as I was playing around with this earlier. Change request form has gone to 4.0. So it takes a little while for the version number to change, but it'll get there, no problems. It has been attributed to the document as we've created the change, so that's okay. But that's that's good, useful information to be able to see that version number. What about the enterprise keywords that we've just added? So how do we work with these documents now? Properties and various things. Do we use the ellipsis menu? Yes, we could do that. We could right click on it and also get that experience. We could select the document and click the information button now, and that turns on all the various bits and pieces about the document, the properties, which we can edit from here, and that's what we'll do. But we can see all the sharing and the information and all the stuff that we might want to see about a document. So let's right click on that document and we'll change or edit the properties. And this is where we're going to add some enterprise keywords. This was a change request form, so let's add form and change and procedure. Okay, 3 keywords. In we go, and you'll see them now displayed. Okay, so as you can imagine, if you've got a number of different keywords there, that list could grow. So maybe there's a better way of displaying that too. We'll see as time goes on. There's going to be lots of feedback based on the changes that we're seeing here. We had a check-in, check-out comment, so if I check the document in and out, we could show you that. But let's just move on because there's lots of other things to show too. So we've altered a existing view. So let's create a new view. Create a custom view. So you can see that you can do this directly from the views menu. You don't have to go into the library settings underneath the cogs button. And we've got it's copied the existing view that I was working on, and we're going to call this My Documents. And we're going to, we'll leave all of those on, but we're going to filter. Now, first of all, we'll sort based on the modified date. And we'll put it in descending order, And for filter, we're going to say show items when the modified by, which will be a person, is equal to, open brackets, me. Standard SharePoint trick. And as we save that view, we'll now have a My Documents view, which only shows the 2 documents that I've recently modified, that I've changed. And we can see that view sitting up under here underneath the New Views button. My Documents. We've got all documents still available. We've got Shared With Us. We've got this strange one called Highlights. But you can see that I can create my own view and make this more functional. And this is going to be, in that sense, a view that's relative to whoever's logged in. They'll log in, they'll choose the My Documents view, and they'll be able to see the documents that they've been working on. So that's a good piece of SharePoint functionality there now in groups files. Right, so moving on from that, let's go back into, just refer back to let's have a look at alerts. We'll have a look at all documents. Set an alert on, well, let's not choose a library, a document. Let's just choose the library for now. So alert me when the documents change. So if I haven't selected any documents, this alert's going to be set at the library level. It means that I will get an alert based on the settings that I make now for the whole library. So this is my alerts. It's going to send alerts, email them to me, of course. I don't have SMS as an option. I'm going to for the changes, I'm going to say when new items are added, because we might be using this as a project library, and we want to know when different documents are being submitted and stored. We'll go into send an alert for when anything changes, but I'm not going to ask for it to be sent automatically. I just want to see a daily summary, and I'm going to change that to send it, at 6 o'clock in the morning, so that when I get into work or I want to check in the morning, I know what documents have been waiting there for me. So I'm going to get that as an alert for the whole library, and I can set similar settings for an individual document as well. Now, as I've been doing that, I've remembered something else that I was quite interested in changing within library settings, and it was versioning settings. No, it was in advanced settings, and it was how drafts are managed. And I may have gone into that. No. I'm in the wrong area. Yeah, all the SharePoint people are watching this video going, no, you fool, it's under here. Versioning settings. I was right the first time. Content approval. So this is a great feature for document libraries in SharePoint, where when someone submits a document in there, the documents are not available or visible until a admin of the library or the site can go in, or a approver can go in and give approval. And so this does play quite nicely to the classroom scenario, where a student might submit some work and that document's not visible until the teacher marks it as being approved. And so there might be some drafts and some discussions going back and forth about that document before it is marked as approved, and perhaps using one of our permissions with tricks with permissions that we learned about earlier, we can make sure that document is then stored in a place which is just viewable to students. So we'll turn content approval on. Remember when I was talking about versioning that we currently see major versions, so let's turn on the major and minor versions. And this means that we can have things in draft form. And you've got version 2.4, 2.5, and then publish it so that everyone knows that it's a final version. So we'll turn that feature on. We've got this draft item security, which is how when something is in draft, that only users who can approve items and the author of the item can see the document. That's a good one to leave on. So we'll leave that. And what I have noticed when I made this change was it took a little while for a couple of views to appear in our document library. When you start to use content approval, and when you start to manage drafts and various things, what you will end up needing is a view that allows you to manage those approvals. And so what I did observe when I go back to documents is, and it might be quicker this time, but it took about 20 minutes for me to see the view for managing approvals. As we look under our views button now, there we go, approve or reject items and my submissions. So firstly, as a member of the site who doesn't have permission to approve, I've got that my submissions view, so I can see what have I submitted. It's not visible to everyone else, but I can see what are my items in draft that I can use, and continue to work on my drafts from there. I can filter everything else out. Approve and reject items is what our admins of our groups, who are approvers, can go in and check it, pass some comments about a document, and send those comments back to our users. Let's just go through that process just very quickly. Let's go into the 2011 employee evaluations. We'll open up that document and we'll edit and make a few changes. And I know I'm the admin, so I've got the ability to approve my own work, but I want you to just think about this process, that if I was a regular member of the group, that I can go in, I can submit this work and make some changes to it, and then it will be approved or not. Let's just add a couple of full stops after that. Actually, you know what? The approval process, doing this wrong again, the approval process is when you're submitting new work. So because I've turned on content approval, everything that has already been in the library is already automatically approved because it was already visible to everyone. So it's better for me to find a document. Let's just do that very quickly. Find something that could be interesting. Let's drag up a template into the document library. So drag it on up. And this is one comment that has also been made about the upload experience. Let's just exit that. I'll scroll it to the top there. Beforehand, when you dragged a document up and onto a document library, it was a little more obvious. It would make the whole library opaque, and it would flash that message to say yes, you can go ahead and upload it by letting it go. Now you've got to look at the header along the top, and it says drag items to any location. And do notice that as I'm dragging it over the top of various areas, if I drag it over a folder, then it's going to be saved into that folder. If I just drag it out into the middle, then that's where it is. So that, I believe, is why the library itself doesn't go opaque, because we still need to be able to see where we're going to drag it to. It could be dragged directly into a folder. For now, I'm just going to drag it out into the root of this document library. So that's uploaded, that's fine, and if I cruise on down, it was called a Webster.x, which was a template that I'm using for managing my styles. Being W, it's going to be at the bottom of the list. There it is. It's in draft form. Okay, so it's not visible to anyone else in the group until it's been approved and commented on. So as a approver, I can now go into the approve and reject items, and I can manage this approval process. I can see that there's two things in here that are in draft form. There you go. Actually, it is in draft form. The document that I changed earlier. So if we just publish that, it is going to going to approve it. It's going to take it out of draft form. Good version. And we may have to refresh that so that we can see the change. It's come out of draft, pending. Okay. So the process is we when we're submitting work and it goes into draft form, then we can publish it, but then we are unable to approve or reject that item until it is published. So let's go through and approve and reject that. Something went wrong. So some of these features aren't quite ready yet. Nice exploration live with the audience. Thanks for watching. Sorry for wasting your time there. But it is going to be something that'll be tidied up eventually, I'm sure. So let's just skip along to another one of those features. We've looked at views, we've looked at the view menu button, and we've looked at highlights. So I think that, just going back to this particular feature that we found doesn't quite work yet. I can see a lot of potential in it. Particularly if we just had one of those features turned on, maybe not content approval. We can see the versioning going on with things in draft and it being going from draft to published. I think we've compounded things and made things a little difficult by turning on content approval as well, and perhaps I should know that. So it's one or the other, I would say. So yeah, that's good. We can see how those two features might be used in a collaborative sense and within a classroom sense. And it's good that we can also use it from a security perspective too, that items that are in draft are not visible to the rest of the group. And yeah, so those are quite a few different changes. I haven't really delved into many of the other things within the library settings. I'm sure that I'll probably come across the occasional thing which doesn't quite work as expected. I don't expect things like audience targeting to work. I'm not sure about form settings at this stage. And being able to add, let's see, in advanced settings, there were things like content types, which we can't get to the site collection level at this stage for groups. We can do that within team sites, but not for groups at this stage. So there are a few things that aren't going to quite work as you go in here and experiment. Now I do suggest that when you are experimenting, that you do this in a group that is not a production group. Go in, create a nice group that you can test some things and check things out. And see what you might change, because some of the things that aren't quite working, I imagine some of them might, if they were configured incorrectly, could break future rollouts of different features perhaps. So yeah, lots of different things in here that we can get to. So we'll back out of that. And thanks very much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. It's one of my my longer videos. I should trim it out a bit, but yeah, there's some exciting changes in there, and just let me know what you find too. I think that as we see time go on, the experience across the groups files library and the team sites document libraries is going to be more and more equivalent. And as we've heard too, the team site experience is going to be opened up within groups in the near future too. We're not sure what that looks like yet, whether it's going to be the actual site that is being used currently for the group, or is it going to be that a team site's going to be associated with the group, so you'll get this like for like, two different containers associated with the group. So thank you for watching, and just let me know if you find out.